Okay, so welcome to part 2 of this video. So now I'm going to get more into the number side of things. So going back, you can see on this chart how it lists these numbers here. And so that's what these numbers correspond to. So for this assessment, it calculates your scores and distributes them by comparing it to other people and places you basically on this normal distribution. So it basically means for this is using a t-distribution. So the mean for this is 50. So as you can see here, actually this is not good, going up. So that's why this is shaded, because the mean is 50 and the standard deviation is 10. So that's why 60 to 40 is all shaded in, because most people get in that range of scores. So going back down to this. So 68% of people get between 40 and 60 on any category. And so that's why it's good to see what things you score outside of the 40 to 60 range, because that means you're pretty different. And even going another standard deviation, if you score less than a 30 on something or more than a 70 on something, you are scoring differently than 95% of people. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Alright, so you have this normal distribution, and that's basically what the slide is talking about. So in addition to getting your chart, you also just get a table of numbers. So this is just a selection from mine. So it has each of these types here, and even if you don't get a separate like prestige chart or a separate liking versus competence line, it shows all your results. So just going through, first you have your general results. So this compares you to the general population. Pretty sure it compares you to people in your age group, but that's something you might want to double check. But compared to, in general, I scored a 53 on social facilitating, which means I'm about average in my interest in social facilitating. So some types have slightly different results, differing by gender. So you can look at your same-sex scores or your general scores. So some might be slightly different. So, for example, if you go to data processing, I'm above average interested in that compared to the general population. And I'm still above average interest in that compared to other women, but maybe a little bit more. But not a ton. And then you have this liking column. So this is how interested you are in this area, and competence, how competent you feel you are in this area. So even if you didn't get a separate line on your chart that these are super different, you may still notice some differences. So that's something to keep in mind. Maybe you really like something, but you don't feel very competent in it. Let's see. I didn't really have a ton of that here. Maybe you also feel competent in something and like it less than you are competent in. So I guess for me, for helping, I got a really high competence score, and that's probably because I have a graduate degree and I'm working on another one in a helping related field. And I still really like helping. I'm still at 59, but I've received a lot of training in it. And so that's probably why the score is so high. So that's something to look at. And then have your raw scores. I always ignore this column because is basically they converted your scores into these scores, which are more easily interpretable. Alright, so some questions to keep in mind when interpreting your scores. What areas did you score highest? And what areas did you score lowest? So it's, on one hand, pay attention to whether or not you scored above a 60 or below a 40, but also what are your scores in relation to your other scores. So going back, let's say I scored like a 63 in social facilitating and 65 managing and 70 in business detail and 61 in data processing. This indicates this is a different result than my current results, even though I still have the same above 60 score in data processing. So it is also about your relative scores, and some people have different styles. Some people just say they love everything, or some people just have all around low scores, and that's fine. Just pay attention to how your scores relate to each other. And you can also see what your reassec results are, because those are some of the types. So like artistic is one of the types. And so if you have your top 3 scores, like usually I am categorized as AIS, artistic, investigative, social. That could be helpful when thinking about different occupations, because these are often also categorized using this coding. And then there are also these other results. So if you didn't think that was enough results, here are some more results. You have this occupational match, and this major match, and this ASU major match. For you, your major is your ASU major, so that's less relevant. But people at other institutions can use this, but it's hosted on the ASU website, so it's kind of advertising for ASU. But for these ones, it's not about the T-scores. For here, it's basically matching your scores in order of similarity to these things. So 100 means perfect match, 0 means perfect mismatch. And so there's not really a cutoff point for these scores. And so these are mine. And if I look at them and I freak out because, oh my goodness, it says I should be a stonecutter or a potter, and I'm not in that field at all, that's okay. I can think about, well, why would it say these things as my top 2? Maybe because I indicated that I'm interested in art, amongst other things. And so that may be why it's such a high match. But I can also view all, and I can search for psychology related stuff, and that's still pretty high up there. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I should change my life and become a stonecutter, but I guess it's saying that it wouldn't be a bad fit. And kind of same with the major match. And you can see this doesn't necessarily correlate perfectly with the occupation match. Just like, I should be a veterinarian assisting major and then be a stonecutter. This seems like a strange career path. But again, I can see why they matched me with this, interested in nature, interested in helping. And some of these majors are very, very specific. So again, if this freaks you out, it's okay. It's just this matching thing that can be a little different than how you think of yourself. I've noticed just anecdotally among my students and among myself that the main results, like with these numbers, are a pretty good reflection of your interests. And the other ones, it's kind of more difficult. probably just because there's so many different options. But maybe if you have less of a clear idea of what interests you, it could be good to look at all these different options and again view all, because this is just things that match 94 or above, which is very, very high. And I have here's some other questions that can help you interpret your results. So let me know if you have any questions about your result, what your results mean. Feel free to watch this more or go through the slides again. But I hope you have fun with your assessments. I like assessments. I think they're fun. Other people maybe not. But have fun with your assessments. And I'm also in the process of grading your first paper, and it should be up there pretty soon. Bye.